Startled awake, Alicia cautiously got up, her head throbbing, and her body aching as if she had been in a wrestling match. Looking at the scattered underwear and pants, she couldn't help but recall the intense sex last night. After the grand bonfire event organized by the charming hunk, Braden Scott, Alicia had finally crossed the line into intimacy. Braden had been planning to confess his feelings to her, and her older sister Connie had congratulated them both with a knowing grin. Alicia had downed a drink Connie handed her and then blissfully drifted into slumber. But in her dreams, she had taken the initiative with Braden. The transformation from an innocent girl to a passionate woman had been a roller coaster of sensations. He was an absolute beast in bed, in the best way possible. Suddenly, she heard Connie's voice with panic outside. "I don't know. Braden, I honestly didn't mean for this to happen." "Shh. Lower your voice, Connie. We can't let Alicia hear this." Braden's voice sounded urgent. Curiosity piqued. Alicia got up and, throwing on some clothes, stepped out to investigate. Her heart sank when she saw Braden in a disheveled state, storming out of an adjacent tent, Connie's tent, with no shirt on and faint scratches on his muscular back. "Braden, what are you doing there?" Alicia asked as she approached him. But the words got stuck in her throat when she saw through a gap in the tent's flaps. Her sister Connie, also in a state of undress, bearing certain marks that could only mean one thing: she and Braden had been intimate. Alicia stood there, dumbstruck. "I was drunk and thought it was you." "But," Braden began to explain, but the guilt was evident in his eyes. "So, you two slept together last night?" Alicia's voice trembled. "You and my sister." Braden looked ashamed, and Connie was quick to defend herself. "Alessia, it was an accident, I swear." Alicia's mind raced. If Braden and Connie slept together, then who had she been with? Fear and confusion clouded her thoughts, and she rushed back to her own tent. There, she found a wad of cash beside her sleeping bag and a blood-stained note on top of it. "If the money isn't enough, you can find me at the Whispering Pines Estates." There was no signature, just a phone number, scrawled in a man's bold, assertive handwriting she'd never seen before. Clutching the money tightly, Alicia couldn't believe what had happened. Did she somehow end up selling herself? It was beyond mortifying. When Alicia emerged from the tent on shaky legs, Braden and Connie were waiting for her. Connie approached, grabbing her hand apologetically. "Lexi, I'm so sorry. I never meant for this to happen." Still dazed, Alicia stood there in disbelief. Connie's eyes fell on the hickeys on Alicia's neck, and she gasped. "Lexi, these marks on your neck." Alicia stiffened, her dark eyes meeting her sister's shocked gaze. Braden rushed forward, his eyes wide, examining Alicia's neck as if searching for confirmation. In an instant, his hands grabbed her shoulders with agitation. "Tell me, who were you with last night? What happened?" Alicia wanted to say, "I thought it was you," but now, what good would an explanation do? She said, "Nothing." Unable to bear her silence, Braden growled, "Tell me, who was it? Does it really matter now?" Alicia replied nonchalantly, though her voice quivered. "Braden, we can't go back now. Not after you and my sister. Let's just forget it." She forced a smile. "I wish you both happiness." Saidi A. Yo. 50. Days later, Alicia couldn't help but notice the wedding dress Connie held in her hands. It was a pristine gown, a masterpiece crafted by renowned designer LeBlanc, hailing all the way from the fashion capital of Vermont. Connie and Braden were getting married. A pang of pain pierced through Alicia's heart at the thought. Taking a deep breath, she mustered a smile and addressed Connie. "Hey, sis, that wedding dress looks stunning," Connie faltered, her expression somewhat strained. Thank you." She wrung her hands. "Listen. I'm sorry, Alicia. I didn't expect things to turn out this way. It's all right." Alicia shrugged. "Honestly, I didn't feel that strongly about Braden anyway. You two make a good match. Don't beat yourself up." Connie pursed her lips, unable to find further words. "I'll head upstairs," Alicia declared, making her way to the second floor. She needed to find that bloodstained note, to find the man who had left an indelible mark on her life. Upon reaching her room, she found it meticulously arranged, everything in perfect order. However, the piece of paper she sought, stained with traces of blood, was nowhere to be found. Frustrated, Alicia hurried out of her room and shouted down into the living room. "Connie, what happened to the note on my nightstand? The one that had blood on it?" "Oh, that dirty piece of paper." Connie looked up. "I tossed it while cleaning today. It was too filthy." "You threw it away?" Alicia stood frozen in disbelief. "Yeah, I'm sorry." Connie's face filled with remorse. "Did I do something wrong?" Alicia stared at her. She had just opened her mouth when she was interrupted by a phone call from Dr. Grant. She bit her lips and picked up the phone. "Congratulations, Miss Jansen. The results of your last physical are in. You're pregnant with twins." "What?" Alicia's initial disbelief quickly transformed into a daunting reality. She couldn't help but question herself, getting the news that she's pregnant with babies whose father remained a mystery, on her ex-boyfriend and her sister's wedding day. What irony! "What's the matter, Alicia?" "You don't look well," Connie asked, but Alicia said nothing because Braden came in dressed as a groom, holding Connie's hand. Upon seeing Lexi, the three of them fell into a sort of awkward silence. "Lexi." Braden tried to say something when Alicia jerked her head up. "Nothing. I'm good. Wish you two a happy wedding." At Braden and Connie's complicated looks, she quickly left the room that was suffocating her. In the fierce sun, her hand subconsciously moved to her stomach, where her unborn twins were growing. Thoughts of her diagnosis and the uncertainty that had consumed her mind flooded back. But now, a newfound determination replaced the anxiety. Braden and Connie will have a happy life. Then, why can't she be with her twin babies? Her babies will grow up, even in a single-parent family. She promised. She herself grew up in one. And she turned out just fine, didn't she? 5 years later, the ballroom at the Grand Opulence Hotel buzzed with the sound of chatter and clinking glasses as guests mingled and enjoyed the lavish surroundings. After making the obligatory small talk, Logan Wilde excused himself and went upstairs to the lounge, seeking a moment of respite from the crowd. The lights were dim. The lounge was empty except for himself, yet he couldn't shake off the feeling of being watched. He scanned the room, his jaw clenching slightly as he tried to pinpoint the source of his unease. Before his investigation was complete, however, someone else entered the lounge. "Hi, there!" Without turning around, Logan recognized the A-list actress by her famous sultry voice. Olivia Anderson struck a pose in the open doorway, her long flowing brunette hair cascading down her back, complementing her form-fitting black cocktail dress dotted with sparkling sequins. Her captivating smile hinted at both confidence and mischief. With calculated steps, Olivia approached Logan, her eyes gleaming with desire. She reached out to gently touch his arm, her voice laced with seduction. "Logan, darling, I thought I might find you here. Care to join me for some private entertainment?" Logan's expression remained cool and unaffected. He stepped back, subtly avoiding Olivia's touch. Not interested, Olivia. I'm here to relax, not indulge in your games. Undeterred, Olivia closed the distance between them, flirtatiously swaying her hips. She reached out again, this time aiming for his belt. Sensing her intentions, Logan's patience wore thin, and he firmly shoved her back, his voice filled with icy resolve. I said no, Olivia. Respect my boundaries. Humiliation flashed across Olivia's face, her eyes welling up with tears. She lashed out, her words dripping with sarcasm. Oh, Logan, can't get it up for the sexiest of women. Maybe there's something wrong with you. Maintaining his composure, Logan met her gaze with steely resolve. Save your theatrics, Olivia. It won't change my mind. He watched as she hastily adjusted her attire and makeup, trying to regain some semblance of dignity. Before leaving the lounge, Olivia attempted one last salvage of pride. I was just playing with you, Logan. No hard feelings. She turned on her heels, making her way towards the exit. Her shoulders tense with the sting of rejection. As the lounge door closed behind her, Logan's attention shifted to the thick curtain that concealed the hidden observer. He spoke with authority, his voice carrying a warning. Come out now. No. Movement. Tie. Tongue. Standing stiffly behind the curtain, with her back pressed against the French window. Alicia prayed that the man was just bluffing. He couldn't know she was in the room. Could he? You, behind the curtain. Come out. Don't make me repeat myself again. Alicia's hope was dashed by the man's commanding voice, which seemed to have grown even colder. She sighed and reluctantly stepped out and came face to face with Logan Wilde. The first thing she saw was his strong jawline, since the man was a head taller than her. Then, she took in the rest of the man, a perfect blend of rugged masculinity and striking handsomeness. Her eyes lingered a second longer on his remarkably long dark eyelashes, which cast a deep shadow over his face. That was about as much detail as she could make out, since the lights were too dim for her to see clearly. Yet, Alicia was thrilled. The feeling did not stem from his appearance. It was his identity as the mastermind behind Wilde Enterprises, a colossal conglomerate that spanned various industries. Logan's influence reached far and wide. His company was a titan in the business world, holding a firm grip on the city's economy and impacting the lives of countless individuals. Not yet 30 years old, Logan Wilde had built an empire that was the envy of many. In the bustling metropolis of Viridian City, his name was synonymous with power and prosperity. His wealth knew no bounds, with opulent mansions nestled in prestigious neighborhoods, luxury vehicles that turned heads as they rolled through the city streets, and a lifestyle that exuded extravagance at every turn. Logan's elevated status was undisputed, and his influence permeated the social fabric of the city, making him a force to be reckoned with. And he might just be the scoop Alicia needed to establish herself at Buzzbeat, the tabloid paper where she just landed an offer. She had snuck into the hotel tonight, hoping to get a scoop on Olivia Anderson, who just shot into stardom in the past year. But the ballroom was too big, and Olivia was constantly surrounded by a knot of people. After getting a few pictures of Olivia smiling and glad-handing the beautiful people, Alicia lost interest and came up into the deserted lounge to call her son. She had barely reached the middle of the room when she heard footsteps coming her way. Hastily, she ducked behind the curtain, hoping the newcomer would soon go away. But another set of footsteps, this time a woman's, soon joined the first one. Alicia was resigned to the fate of getting stuck behind the curtain for a long time. But who would have thought that the scoop she was searching for would just fall into her lap? Just imagine. Sizzling scandal. Viridian's billionaire bachelor Logan Wilde, linked to a list actress Olivia Anderson. Alicia tried but failed to hide a grin as she thought about the huge bonus the editor was sure to hand to her once the story broke. That was, if she could make it out of here tonight in one piece. Forcing a smile, she hid the camera behind her. "Oh, hi there. Sorry for disturbing you. I'll leave right away." Logan reached out a hand. "Give me." "What?" Alicia feigned ignorance. "The camera, in your hand." "Oh, this old thing." Alicia produced the second-hand mirrorless Nikon camera and then quickly hid it behind her back again. "It's a relic. Doesn't even work." She pointed to the invisible watch on her left wrist. "Oh, look at the time. I must have dozed off for quite a while. I have to get back to my friends downstairs." "See you." Just as she was about to pass him, Logan shot out an arm and grabbed her wrist. "Delete the photos." Alicia struggled in vain to break free when she realized there was no way she could overpower a man almost twice her size. She relented. Fine, but there was nothing newsworthy in the photos. Anyway, she tried to delay the inevitable, moving her hand as slowly as she could manage. "You rejected Miss Anderson's advances, which is actually a good thing for your reputation if the story gets out." Just imagine the headline. "Shockwaves, Logan Wilde, Viridian's wealthiest bachelor, shuns Olivia Anderson's seductive charms." "Your popularity with the ladies is going to soar," Logan sneered. "Tell me, which reputable news agency is going to print a headline like that?" "Miss, you just confirmed your identity as a paparazzo." "Hey, the outlet I work for is pretty reputable," Alicia protested. "Oh yeah, what's the name of your esteemed outlet?" "BuzzBeat." That drew a raised eyebrow from Logan. "The Gossiper's Gazette? We publish serious news, too, though." Truth be told, the quality of journalism at BuzzBeat had sort of gone downhill in recent years. It started off with the ambition of delivering a diverse range of articles and videos that covered a wide array of topics, including news, entertainment, lifestyle, pop culture, and more. But ever since the new editor-in-chief took over, more column space was given to showbiz gossip than to real news. Alicia had hesitated when she applied for a position there. The difference between a tabloid reporter and a journalist was as wide as that between a $2 cheeseburger from a fast food chain and an grade Kobe rice steak. But then, beggars can't be choosers. And even so, she had to fight for the position with half a dozen other interns, which was why she needed the scoop so badly. Her 3-month probation period was almost up. If she couldn't prove her worth as a gossip hound by then, she had to pack up and go home. So she had to keep her job, which meant she had to get the scoop, which meant she had to keep her camera. But what could she do to convince Mr. Wilde to let her leave with the photos? Logan stood with his head slightly bowed, observing the woman whose eyes kept darting around, obviously plotting her escape. Standing this close, he could tell this woman wore no perfume or makeup, bathed in soft moonlight streaming through the window. She wasn't bad looking. In fact, she could even be described as pretty petite frame, fair skin, lovely oval-shaped face, dainty lips, and small nose. But her best features were her eyes, big, round, liquid eyes shielded under long, thick lashes that required no help from mascara. People often said that eyes are the window to the soul. And in this woman's case, it was actually true. Just one glance at her, Logan could tell what she was thinking. Make a run for it, or try to reason with him. Leaning forward slightly, he could smell her shampoo, something cheap and citrusy. Unlike the $1,000 limited edition, Chanel No. 5, Eau de Toilette, Olivia Anderson wore. But strangely, he didn't feel the same nausea he experienced when Olivia got close to him. To confirm, he stepped forward and took another whiff. His action apparently startled the woman out of her mental calculations. She staggered back half a step, her round eyes made rounder by surprise. Logan couldn't help but be reminded of the Netherland dwarf rabbit, equally petite-sized, equally large eyes, and equally skittish. Alicia, thinking the man was about to make a grab for her camera, hugged it close to her chest. Taking a moment to collect herself, she conjured up an ingratiating smile. "Mr. Wield, as the news people often say, there's no such thing as bad publicity. I can promise you if you'll graciously allow me to use one or two of the photos taken tonight, you'll see a story that's filled with nothing but praises for you. In fact, I already have an idea for the first paragraph." She cleared her throat, deciding to improvise. "In the glamorous city of Viridian, where fortunes are made and hearts are captivated, a seismic event has shaken the elite circles. The ever-dashing Mr. Logan Wilde, Viridian's unrivaled bachelor and the epitome of charm and success, has sent shockwaves through the city by firmly rejecting the seductive advances of a list actress Olivia Anderson." "That's enough." Logan raised a hand like a traffic officer. "That's more than enough." Though he never considered himself the blushing type, he couldn't help but feel his cheeks heating up as the young woman waxed lyrical about Viridian's unrivaled bachelor. "This is what they teach you in journalism school." "I wouldn't know." Alicia shrugged. "I've never been to a journalism school." "Yet, you call yourself a journalist," Logan said sarcastically. Alicia sighed. "It's not the best job in the world, but it pays the bills." Her voice took on a plaintive tone. "Mr. Wilde, please, I promise there won't be anything in the photos or article to embarrass you. You didn't do anything with that actress anyway. The story's really important to me. If you do me this favor and allow me to use the photos, I can finally secure my position as an official member of BuzzBeat." "I really, really need this story." Logan furrowed his brow. "You are not an employee of BuzzBeat yet?" "Not yet. Still on probation." Logan studied the woman standing before him, her figure outlined against the shadows cast on the French window. She was young and appeared intelligent, and there was something about her that intrigued him. Sensing a glimmer of hope, Alicia pressed on, her voice filled with sincerity. "The chief editor promised that if I secure this story, I'll be guaranteed a spot on the news team. I genuinely need this job to support my family. Mr. Wilde, please, I implore you to help me." "Why should I help you?" Logan asked coldly, his walls still firmly in place. He wasn't really interested in the photos or the story, though. He was just distracting the woman with conversation, while he confirmed his suspicion. He wasn't repulsed by her. Despite what his therapist told him, Logan didn't believe he had gynophobia. He was convinced it was an invented medical condition. But he couldn't deny the fact that when women, especially women he didn't know, approached him, he would start feeling anxious. His pulse rate would pick up. He would suffer from shortness of breath, discomfort in the chest, and sometimes he'd feel lightheaded. It was worse if the woman wore perfume. He'd be nauseated and feel like he was being smothered. When Olivia Anderson reached for his belt earlier, it took all his self-control not to send the woman flying across the room with a roundhouse kick. Yet, he had been standing within half a meter of this tabloid reporter, inhaling the scent of her cheap shampoo, and feeling fine. Alicia, oblivious to what was going on in Logan's mind, continued pleading her case. "Mr. Wield, you are a kind man. Everybody knows that. You donate millions of dollars to worthy causes every year. Just think of me as one of your charity cases. Giving up a few harmless pictures so a woman can keep her job. Sounds like a worthy cause. I beg you, please. A worthy cause." Logan repeated, a glint of sharpness in his eyes. "For an unscrupulous paparazzi like you, who says I don't have scruples." Alicia grew anxious. "I didn't take any compromising photos of you. Both you and Miss Anderson were fully clothed and not engaged in anything untoward. Nothing happened. If nothing happened, How can that be newsworthy? Surreptitiously, Logan took another half a step closer to her. Alicia smiled. You underestimate the importance of your own name, Mr. Wield. Just having your name appear in the headline is enough to generate millions of views. Are you calling me clickbait? Sheepishly, Alicia touched her nose. I prefer the term buzzworthiness. As we say at Buzzbeat, she made another attempt to persuade him. Just one story would help me support my family. Besides, since you already know nothing happened, it won't harm you in any way, would you please? Don't spout nonsense, Logan snapped impatiently. Delete the photos. What if his near panic attack was caught on camera? What if the photos showed the sweat on his forehead, the unease in his body language, or, worse, what if the readers, after seeing he turned down one of the hottest women in showbiz, thought there was something wrong with him? Logan reached for the camera. Give me that. Alicia immediately shook her head, her determination unwavering. You can't confiscate it. It's private property. Logan's brow furrowed slightly, his patience wearing thin. Faced with such a stubborn woman, he had no choice but to take matters into his own hands. Then I'll have to do it myself. In one swift motion, Logan reached for the camera, hanging around Alicia's neck. Don't touch me! Alicia swiftly pulled back, clutching the camera protectively to her chest. Logan showed no intention of giving up. He moved closer, but the woman squirmed and writhed, and tried to twist herself into a human pretzel, keeping the camera firmly out of his reach. Determinedly, he pinned her shoulder with one hand while his other hand made a grab for the camera. But instead of the hard aluminum alloy of the camera, his fingers closed around something soft and round and elastic. He gave it a testing squeeze, then froze. Ah! Alicia screamed. A high-pitched noise that jolted Logan's mind back to the present. She swatted away his offending hand. Pervert! Logan shrank aback, flustered. He was about to apologize, but the young woman let out a string of words that were not exactly expletives, but came pretty close. It was an accident, he scowled, and I don't appreciate that kind of language. And I don't appreciate you putting your hands where they don't belong. Alicia's face was flushed crimson. Like I said, it was an accident. You even squeezed it. Alicia folded her arms over her chest, eyes blazing. Logan cleared his throat. I was just checking something. Checking what? Cup size. Alicia wanted to smack him. Pervert. I wasn't. Logan struggled to put his thoughts into words. A rare occurrence for him. But then, what he experienced just now was also a rare occurrence. Not only was he not repulsed by this woman's scent or physical proximity, he felt rather compelled to get closer to her, and when he accidentally touched her, it stirred something within him that he thought was long dead. Olivia Anderson wasn't entirely off the mark when she said there must be something wrong with him. There was. But he just didn't know exactly what it was. His experience in the mornings told him there was nothing wrong with him physically, so it had to be a psychological thing that prevented him from getting intimate with women. But if it was all in his head, how could he feel excited with this woman who was practically a stranger? He didn't even know her name. What was it about her that made her different? Whatever it was, Logan was determined to get to the bottom of it. Step aside, Alicia demanded. I don't want to be in the same room with a pervert. Don't call me that, Logan said, and you are not allowed to leave yet. He took another step forward. Alicia retreated, but he kept advancing. This went on until she had her back firmly pressed against the wall and nowhere to go. What are you doing? Alicia glared at him. I just want to confirm something. Logan was now her personal space. Don't come any closer, Alicia shouted, red in the face. "If you want the camera, take it. Just don't come any closer." "I don't want the camera. I want you." Before the last word left his lips, Logan hissed in pain. Unarmed, Alicia used her fingernails as the only weapon at her disposal. She scratched Logan's outstretched hand so hard it drew blood. "When you turned down Miss Anderson earlier, I thought you were a real gentleman." Running out of space behind her, Alicia Crabbe walked to her left, trying to create some distance between her and Logan. "But you are just a pervert, like all other men. No, you are worse. You are sick." Logan furrowed his brow, once again drawing closer to her. "I said, don't come any closer." Alicia made her right hand into the shape of a claw, ready to strike. "Sorry." Logan pursed his lips. "Sorry doesn't make up for the fact that you tried to put your paws on me." "I said it was an accident." He had been aiming for the camera when he accidentally touched her. Though Logan couldn't deny to himself that he, wanted to try it again. Alicia's reply was an eye roll. "Are you planning on keeping me here all night? It's called false imprisonment, you know." "Do you want the job at Buzzbeat?" Logan asked suddenly. "Does a bear chase?" Thinking of her 5-year-old son, Alicia modified her language. "Poop in the woods." Logan pondered for a moment before proposing, "Stay with me tonight, and I'll arrange a better job for you. What do you think?" The next second, Logan saw Alicia's initial shock turned into anger in her eyes. Just when he thought he'd hear dirtier words from her mouths, he saw Alicia narrowed her eyes. "Just spend the whole night with you? Is that what you're suggesting?" Logan nodded. He wanted to see if her effect on him was just temporary or permanent. "What do I have to do?" Alicia asked, as if seriously considering his proposal. "More importantly, what kind of job offer are we talking about here?" "Whatever kind of offer. It sure beats that of a tabloid reporter." Logan was a little surprised by her unexpected acceptance of his offer. Even though he was the one who initiated the idea, deep down, a tinge of disappointment lingered. He lowered his gaze. Of all the women he knew, why did his body only react to her? When he was momentarily distracted, Alicia saw an opportunity. Swiftly, she raised her leg, aiming for a man's most vulnerable region, hoping to give him a taste of her frustration. But she'd forgotten about their height difference. The tip of her shoe barely made contact with his mid-thigh. Then, Logan deftly dodged the kick. Oops. She hadn't expected his reflexes to be so sharp. Logan quickly seized hold of her wrist and demanded, "What do you think you're doing?" Frustration and fury mingled in Alicia's voice as she shot back. "Damn it! I'm not a prostitute. Do you think money can buy any woman you want?" "But you agreed," Logan replied with a knitted brow. "Screw you! I never agreed to your ridiculous proposal," Alicia retorted, lifting her chin defiantly. "I don't need you to find me a job. I already have one." Logan's brow furrowed deeper. "If you didn't agree, why did you say yes?" "I never said yes. Get your filthy hands off me." Alicia forcefully shook off Logan's grip, her anger fueling her determination. "I'm deleting all your photos, all right?" She held up her camera for him to see the screen, then deleted all the photos taken in the lounge. "There, happy? Can I go now? Can we talk for a moment?" Logan backed up a little to give her space. "No," Alicia responded coldly. "I don't have time for that. There's been a misunderstanding." "There's no misunderstanding," Alicia scoffed. "I've seen plenty of men like you. You thought I was poor and desperate for money and believed you could buy me on the cheap, didn't you?" Logan attempted to defend himself. "I didn't mean." "I don't care," Alicia snorted. "There are plenty of other choices out there, ready for you to fulfill your perverted desires. Why don't you try Sunny Meadows Ranch? Sunny Meadows Ranch? Logan gave her a quizzical look. It's a pig farm. Exactly. Alicia smirked. It's the perfect place for you to find your ideal match. After all, you are all members of the same species. Struck dumb. Logan had no idea how to respond to that. He had been called names before, mostly by business rivals, but he'd never been insulted by a woman in this creative fashion. And right to his face, strangely, he couldn't bring himself to be mad at her. Stowing her camera into her shoulder bag, Alicia asked, "Can I leave now?" Logan, unwilling to let her go, reached out and grabbed her wrist again, his touch searing against her skin. "Don't touch me!" Alicia screamed instinctively, her reflexes kicking in. "What else do you want from me?" "I need your help," Logan said. Alicia glowered at him. "This is how you ask someone for help. I was afraid you'd leave without letting me finish." Alicia took a deep breath. "Fine. What help do you need? Just stay still for a moment." Logan stood close to Alicia, their bodies almost touching, as he took in a deep breath, intoxicated by her scent. It was a tantalizing mixture of cheap shampoo and something uniquely her. The fragrance hung in the air, enveloping him and igniting a fiery desire within him that he struggled to suppress. With every beat of his heart, the flames burned brighter. Feeling the intensity of the moment, Logan knew he had to regain control. He abruptly pulled back, tilting his body sideways to hide the undeniable evidence of his arousal. His domineering nature recoiled at the vulnerability that Alicia's presence invoked within him. He couldn't let her get too close, for fear of losing himself in her. Alicia, growing impatient with the lack of response from Logan, was about to speak up when the door to the lounge swung open. The newcomer flipped on the light switch. "Logan, I was hoping we could talk." Her sentence died in her throat as the lounge was flooded with light and her eyes fell upon Logan and Alicia standing face to face near the French window. The two of them seemed locked in an intimate dance, poised on the precipice of something forbidden. Olivia's eyes widened, a mix of shock, hurt, and jealousy coursing through her veins. The realization of what she had interrupted struck her like a blow. Tears welled in Olivia's eyes as she turned to face Logan, her voice quivering with a mix of hurt and accusation. Is she your woman, Logan? Damn it. What a mess." Alicia, sensing the weight of Olivia's emotions, rushed to explain, desperation lacing her words. "No, Miss Anderson. It's a misunderstanding. I am in no way involved with Mr. Wilde. We were just..." But before Alicia could finish speaking, Logan's restraining arm wrapped around her waist, pulling her closer to him. The sudden closeness sent a shiver down Alicia's spine. A flush of embarrassment colored her cheeks as she realized the physical evidence of Logan's desire pressing against her backside. They stood together, facing Olivia, their bodies almost melding into one. Logan shot a cold look at Olivia. "Have you seen enough?" Olivia pursed her lips. "Well, aren't you touchy? Fine, I won't disturb you any longer. Carry on. Although, I suggest you take this party to a hotel room. Too many prying eyes here." Olivia shot Alicia one last look of jealousy before she turned and walked away. The door closed. Once again. "Ugh!" Alicia fumed, her anger mounting. She elbowed Logan in the ribs. The man let out a muted groan. Finally breaking free from his grasp, Alicia swiftly took a step back, unable to hold back her frustration. "You jerk! Are you done taking advantage of me?" Her face was flushed crimson from both anger and embarrassment. However, this time, this man hadn't said a word. She raised her head, glaring at Logan. Under the bright light, She could see his face clearly. Alicia gasped. The man before her bore a striking resemblance to her 5-year-old son. With his strong jawline, sharp eyebrows, deep-set eyes, impossibly long eyelashes, straight nose, and even lips of the same shape. Most important was the man's eye color, a unique blend of stormy gray and vibrant blue. Just like her son's, Alicia knew that on a sunny day, there'd be flecks of silver dancing within the azure hues. Milo was like a miniature version of this man. A wave of guilt and confusion washed over Alicia. Could he be? No, it's impossible. After a brief moment of shock, Alicia suddenly snapped out of it, avoiding looking at Logan. This was no time to dwell on the man's incredibly good-looking face. She quickly turned around and hurried away, leaving Logan frowning after her. Flustered and confused, Alicia made her way to the exit of the banquet hall, only to bump into Olivia again. Olivia folded her arms. Well, if it isn't Mr. Wilde's mysterious date in the lounge. Alicia, undeterred by Olivia's disdainful tone, held her ground. I need to set things straight. There's nothing going on between me and Mr. Wilde. In fact, I don't even know the man. Olivia's sardonic smile widened. Is that so? And why should I believe a word you say? Alicia's eyes narrowed, her voice laced with defiance. Believe what you want. It doesn't change the truth, and maybe I shouldn't have tried to explain myself to you. After all, it's not as if you're Mr. Wilde's girlfriend or anything. Olivia's face flushed with humiliation. At least I have a shot. She leaned closer, her voice dripping with contempt. As for you, hoping to be with Logan Wilde. Please, darling. Look at you, $20 t-shirt, worn-out jeans, no makeup, no jewelry. You don't belong here, and you don't stand a chance. Alicia's gaze remained steady, her tone calm but firm. I couldn't care less about your opinion, Miss Anderson. Perhaps you should focus on honing your acting skills instead of criticizing a stranger's wardrobe. Olivia's lips curled into a sneer. I don't need advice from strangers like you. Alicia shrugged and turned on her heels. Dean. As Logan stepped out of the luxurious lounge, he scanned the crowded banquet hall, his eyes searching for a glimpse of Alicia. But she was nowhere to be found. Frustration welled up inside him as he realized she had slipped away. Just as he was about to give up, Olivia approached him with a coy smile. She leaned closer, her voice a low whisper. Logan, I'm sorry for earlier. It was rude of me to intrude. Can we forget about it? Logan barely spared her a glance, his focus still on finding Alicia. I'm not interested in your apologies. Olivia tilted her head, studying him curiously. Looking for that woman, are you? Well, she's already left. Maybe she's more your type. Logan's eyes narrowed, his patience waning. What I do or who I associate with is none of your business. Olivia's expression shifted, a mix of surprise and amusement. She smiled, stepping closer, her perfume filling the air. But instead of the alluring effect she hoped to produce, it made Logan's nose crinkle in distaste. Unfortunately, Olivia was oblivious to his reaction. She purred next to his ear, her voice dripping with implication. Logan, why don't we continue our conversation in my suite upstairs? I'm sure we can find other ways to entertain each other tonight. Logan's thoughts were elsewhere, his mind still captivated by Alicia's unadorned face and her intoxicating scent. He quickly stepped back, creating distance between them. His voice held a warning edge. Olivia, if you ever dare to insinuate something like that again, I assure you, you'll be blacklisted from the showbiz industry. A wave of panic washed over Olivia's face, her arrogance faltering. Logan turned away without another word, striding purposefully through the banquet hall. His assistant, Terrence Baird, approached, holding out a tablet. Sir, I've gathered some information on the woman from the lounge. Her name is Alicia Jansen, 25 years old, recently joined BuzzBeat. Logan took the tablet. Scanning the details briefly, Alicia's face stared back at him, igniting a spark of curiosity within him. He could sense there was more to her than met the eye. Leaning against the glass wall of the banquet hall, Logan gazed out into the night, lost in thought. His mind replayed their brief encounter, the fiery exchange between them. As Alicia stepped out of the hotel, her heart raced with a mix of excitement and nervousness. Without wasting a moment, she dialed Lara Morris, her supervisor at BuzzBeat. The phone rang, and Lara's voice echoed through the receiver. Alicia, what do you have for me? I hope it's a juicy scoop. Alicia couldn't help but smirk. Oh, it's definitely spicy, Lara. It involves none other than a list actress Olivia Anderson and our very own Mr. Logan Wilde. Lara's excitement grew, her voice practically crackling with anticipation. Logan Wilde, the billionaire CEO. That's huge. Tell me everything. Alicia's eyes gleamed with satisfaction. Olivia Anderson and Logan Wilde are more than just acquaintances. They were caught in a, well, let's call it a compromising position at the hotel. Lara let out a gasp. Photos. Alicia, do you have the photos? Alicia's lips curved into a mischievous smile. Of course, I do. When Logan asked her to delete the photos earlier, she did, but he didn't know that she'd already made a backup copy on her cloud drive. Lara's excitement skyrocketed. Brilliant! Alicia, this headline will be explosive. Logan Wilde, the enigmatic billionaire, and Olivia Anderson, the stunning actress, embroiled in a scandal. Get back to the office immediately. We need to discuss how we'll break this story. Alicia nodded. Even though Lara couldn't see her. I'm on my way. I just left the hotel. I'll take a taxi straight to the BuzzBeat office. As Alicia settled into the backseat of the taxi, her mind raced with thoughts of payback. This news would teach Logan a lesson for his inappropriate behavior towards her earlier. She couldn't help but relish the satisfaction that soon the whole city would know about his indiscretions. The next morning, the front page of BuzzBeat screamed with bold letters, capturing the attention of anyone passing by. The headline blazed across the page, declaring the alleged tryst between Olivia Anderson, the A-star actress, and billionaire CEO Logan Wilde. Accompanying the headline was a photo of Olivia in Logan's arms. Their expressions intimate and vulnerable. As the news spread like wildfire, Viridian City was captivated by the scandal. The rumor mills churned, and people hungered for every sordid detail. Logan's carefully guarded reputation was now at stake, and the city couldn't get enough of the drama, casting curious eyes on Logan's company. Logan's company, Wilde Enterprises, occupied the prestigious Sky Tower, an architectural masterpiece that loomed over the city skyline. The president's office, located on the 88th floor, boasted luxurious French windows offering panoramic views. Standing in front of these windows was Logan Wilde himself, radiating an untouchable aura that sent shivers down the spines of anyone who crossed his path. Terrence Baird, Logan's most trusted assistant, stood before the desk, a look of remorse etched on his face. He knew he had let his guard down, failing in his duty to protect Logan's image from the media onslaught. I apologize, sir, Terrence said, his voice laced with regret. I underestimated the audacity of BuzzBeat. I never thought they would dare to publish something that could tarnish your reputation. Logan's eyes narrowed as he stared at the article displayed on the tablet in front of him. The headline screamed sensationalism, and the words beneath it threatened to unravel everything he had worked so hard to build. With a dismissive flick of his hand, he tossed the tablet back onto his desk, frustration emanating from his every pore. You should have been more vigilant, Terrence, Logan said. I trusted you to keep tabs on the media, especially the tabloids. It seems I'd overestimated your diligence. He added after a pause. And I've also underestimated this Alicia Jansen. Terrence's confusion was evident. But sir, the article is attributed to Lara Morris, a senior reporter at BuzzBeat. Logan leaned back in his chair, his expression a blend of annoyance and self-reproach. Alicia Jansen is the woman who took those compromising photos. I should have anticipated that she would have backup copies. But in the chaos of their encounter at the hotel lounge last night, he was too distracted by her scent and his own reaction to her. Logan's jaw tightened as he thought of Alicia. The woman manipulated the situation, taking advantage of his momentary lapse in judgment. And now, he was left to deal with the consequences. Alicia stormed into Lara Morris's office, her eyes burning with frustration. Why is the article under your name, Lara? Alicia questioned, her tone firm and accusatory. I'm the one who took the photos and wrote the initial draft. We worked on the revisions together until late last night. And then Lara sent her home, saying her son probably needed her. Alicia had been grateful, but now she realized her gratitude was misplaced. Lara leaned back in her chair, her expression cool and calculated. Alicia, you're not officially on the staff yet, she replied, her voice tinged with condescension. It's only natural that my name was used. Alicia's eyes narrowed as she clenched her fists. She knew Lara was playing games, using her position to take credit for Alicia's hard work. This wasn't the first time Lara had taken advantage of their working relationship. Alicia refused to back down. This isn't fair, Lara. I deserve recognition for my efforts. I won't let you diminish my contributions. Lara smirked, a self-assured glint in her eyes. Listen, Alicia, if you go along with this, I can talk to the chief editor about offering you a full-time position, she offered, her voice dripping with false generosity. A generous contract, a chance to establish yourself in the industry. Isn't that what you've always wanted? Alicia hesitated for a moment, weighing the tempting offer. This could be her ticket to securing a stable job and making a name for herself. But deep down, she knew that compromising her integrity wasn't the path she wanted to take. Before Alicia could respond, her phone buzzed with an urgent notification. It was a summons to the chief editor's office. Her heart raced with anticipation and nervousness. Could this be her chance to set things right? Taking a deep breath, Alicia squared her shoulders and strode out of Lara's office, determined to face the chief editor head-on. The chief editor's office, the largest one on the entire floor, was adorned with sleek furniture and framed accolades lining the walls. Alicia knocked and waited for a reply before walking in. Jeremy Chavez's displeased expression confirmed her suspicions. She was on thin ice, her probation period nearing its end, and her lack of buzzworthy articles hung heavily in the air. Jeremy wasted no time in reminding her of her shortcomings, his voice laced with frustration. Alicia, your probation period is almost up, and we haven't seen the impact we expected. Where are the headlines that will make waves? Alicia's eyes darted around the room, searching for a lifeline. She pleaded, her voice tinged with desperation. Please, Mr. Chavez, just give me one more chance. I know I can deliver a headline that will captivate our readers. Jeremy gestured towards BuzzBeat's website, where Lara Morris's article on the A-list actress and the city's wealthiest billionaire CEO dominated the page, garnering attention and boosting sales. He made it clear that Alicia should learn from Lara's success. I'll try harder, Alicia said. I promise. Jeremy's gaze shifted towards the closed office door, a wicked smile forming on his lips as he shamelessly appraised Alicia's youthful appearance and alluring figure. His words oozed with an unsettling suggestion. You know, Alicia. Maybe there's another way for you to secure a full-time position at Buzzbeat. Alicia's disgust welled up within her, her young spirit recoiling from the lecherous implications. She stood her ground, determined not to succumb to his advances. Jeremy's age, at least 50, made him old enough to be her father, his thinning hair adding years to his appearance. She fought to maintain her composure, pretending ignorance of his insinuation. Impatience tinged Jeremy's voice as he pushed the boundaries further. Come on, Alicia. Don't tell me you haven't thought about it. Let's discuss it over dinner. Alicia's stomach churned with revulsion. Her thoughts racing, resignation seemed like the only viable option. An escape from this compromising situation. Just as she was about to decline, a knock on the door shattered the tension. Lara entered the room, her presence a welcome interruption to Jeremy's advances. The man scowled. What are you doing here, Lara? This is a private conversation. Unfazed, Lara stated coolly. Sorry to interrupt, but I think Alicia deserves some credit here. Lara held up a print copy of Buzzbeat. She played a significant role in the article, including the photos. She deserves recognition. I only omitted her name due to her non-staff status, but I felt it was important for the chief editor to be aware of her role. Alicia's surprise mingled with the glimmer of hope. Lara's sudden change in attitude caught her off guard, and she couldn't help but wonder about her intentions. Yet, before she could voice her thoughts, Lara surprised her further. By speaking up on her behalf, Lara addressed the editor. Alicia has potential. She deserves a chance to prove herself. We shouldn't overlook her talents. Jeremy, unable to contradict one of his most seasoned reporters, reluctantly conceded to Lara's point. He said begrudgingly, Fine, but this better be worth it. Alicia can come on board at Buzzbeat full-time. Alicia was overwhelmed by a surge of gratitude. Thank you, Mr. Chavez. I won't let you down. She turned to Lara. And thank you, Lara. Once they left the editor's office, Alicia couldn't help but question Lara's motive for speaking up on her behalf. They walked briskly down the hallway, their high heels clicking against the polished floor. Why did you stick your neck out for me, Lara? Alicia asked. You didn't have to do that. Lara smiled, her perfectly manicured nails tapping against the strap of her designer handbag. Oh, darling, it was just a part of our little deal, she explained, with a mischievous glint in her hazel eyes. Remember, I promised to put in a good word for you if I got the exclusive byline for that article. Alicia stopped in her tracks, her expression a mix of surprise and gratitude. But the public already thinks you wrote it. Not me. Lara shrugged, dismissing the issue with a wave of her hand. Which means I got what I wanted, and it was my turn to give you what you wanted. But Jeremy now knows I share some of the credit. It's the reader's opinion that matters to me, not Jeremy's. Besides, you did a great job, and I'm more than happy with the arrangement. What Lara conveniently left out was that with Alicia on board, Jeremy would direct his lascivious energy towards the new recruit instead of Lara herself. She wasn't lying when she said she was happy with the arrangement. She got the recognition she wanted. Alicia got the job, and Jeremy got a new toy to play with. Thinking of this, Lara smiled. Alicia returned the smile, feeling a sense of relief wash over her. She thanked Lara for her help in securing the employment contract, knowing she wouldn't have made it this far without her. With the contract signed and sealed, Alicia officially became a full-time staff member at Buzzbeat. The clock struck 5, signaling the end of the workday. Lara, always the center of attention, gathered their colleagues and made the announcement. Everyone, I have exciting news. Lara's voice rang out in the bustling office. Alicia is now a full-time member of our team. Applause and cheers erupted, congratulating Alicia on her achievement. They all agreed that it called for a celebration. After all, BuzzFeed's print edition and online subscriptions had hit a record high, thanks to the scandalous story of Olivia Anderson and Logan Wilde. Lara, basking in her success, received a hefty bonus from the chief editor and generously decided to treat her colleagues to dinner. They made their way to a trendy restaurant conveniently located next to a lively karaoke lounge. Alicia quickly texted her sister, letting her know she would be coming home late. As the evening progressed, the team dined together, indulging in delicious food and trading life stories. After dinner, the group decided to continue the celebration at the karaoke lounge. Alicia, fueled by the excitement of her new job and the drinks flowing freely, found herself consuming more alcohol than usual. Her inhibitions began to slip away, making her heady and reckless. Feeling the need for a break, Alicia excused herself from the raucous atmosphere and headed towards the restroom. She took out her phone, checked the time, realized it was way past Milo's bedtime, and had to abandon the idea of calling him and wishing her son sweet dreams. As she turned the corner, with her eyes glued to the screen, she walked straight into a wall of solid muscle, making her stumble backwards. "Ouch!" Alicia exclaimed, rubbing her forehead. "Are you all right?" a man's voice asked as a pair of strong arms caught her shoulders, just in time. Alicia couldn't help but notice his hands, strong and elegant, a striking contrast against the softness of her own. And the voice sounded familiar. Alicia squinted her eyes in the dim lighting, her heart skipping a beat as she recognized the face of Logan Wilde. Her mind raced, trying to find an escape route before Logan connected the dots and realized her involvement in the scandalous article. Guilt gnawed at her conscience, but she couldn't bring herself to face his anger and disappointment. Thank you. And sorry for bumping into you," Alicia stammered, her voice tinged with unease. She hastily straightened her posture, but kept her head low. "Thank you for catching me." Logan released his hold on her, but remained close, his presence both intimidating and alluring. "You're welcome," he replied, his voice low and husky. "Be more careful next time." Alicia tried to slip away before the man realized who she was. But Logan did recognize her. He recognized her from the same citrusy shampoo she used, and the fact that he wasn't repulsed by the brief physical contact with a woman. Then, he smelled the alcohol on her breath, which somehow irked him. He furrowed his brows, his piercing gaze cutting through her like a knife. Alicia swallowed hard, bracing herself for what was to come. "I know who you are," Logan stated, his voice laced with a hint of annoyance. "You're the reporter who took those damn photos last night." Alicia wanted to cry, but she knew her urgent task was to find an excuse to stay away from the angry lion. She feigned ignorance, her voice dripping with innocence. "I'm sorry, but I think you have me confused with someone else. I didn't write that article," Lara Morris did. Logan's jaw tightened, a flicker of frustration crossing his features. "I was there," he retorted sharply. "I saw you taking those photos." "Don't play dumb with me." Alicia's eyes flashed with defiance as she shot back. "Yes, I took the photos, but I deleted them right in front of you. You saw it." Logan's gaze bore into hers, his steely resolve unyielding. "Someone clearly got their hands on those photos, and I have a feeling it's not just a coincidence that they ended up in that article." Alicia tried to find a way to divert suspicion. "Look, maybe someone else at the hotel took similar photos and used them for the article. It wasn't me." Logan's frustration boiled over, his voice sharp with irritation. "Do you honestly think you can fool me with such a flimsy excuse? I'm not some naive fool, woman." "It's not an excuse," Alicia snapped. "I told you the truth. And now, if you'll excuse me, I really need to use the ladies' room." Alicia tried to sidestep Logan, hoping to slip away before he could interrogate her further. She couldn't bear the weight of his accusing gaze any longer. But Logan was having none of it. He blocked her path, his formidable presence filling the narrow corridor. "Not so fast," he growled, his voice low and commanding. "You're not going anywhere until we get this sorted out." Alicia's frustration mingled with a flicker of fear. She knew she had underestimated the depth of Logan Wilde's determination. There was no escaping him now. Alicia's heart pounded in her chest as Logan stepped closer, his towering frame overpowering her. Instinctively, she took a step back, trying to create some distance between them. The man was really tall, his presence enveloping her, making her feel small and vulnerable. Without raising her head, she could only see the strong line of his jaw and the prominent Adam's apple that moved with his words. "Make way or I'll call for help," Alicia demanded, her voice laced with a mixture of defiance and trepidation. Logan leaned down, his lips dangerously close to her ear. His voice, low and commanding, sent shivers down her spine. "Go ahead, try to call for help," he whispered. "But remember, no one can fool me and get away with it, especially not women like you." Alicia's breath hitched as Logan's words lingered in the air. Desperately searching for a way out, she softened her voice, pleading with him to let her go. "Please, I didn't mean any harm. Just let me leave and I won't ever take pictures of you again." "I promise." Logan's voice was ice cold as he replied, his eyes glinting with a mix of determination and anger. "You think a soft voice and pretty words can erase the damage you've done. You think an apology will suffice. Number actions have consequences." Alicia's brain, clouded by the alcohol she had consumed earlier, struggled to find a way to escape this predicament. Fear welled up within her as she realized the severity of the situation. She had underestimated Logan's ruthlessness, his unyielding nature. "What do you want from me?" she finally managed to ask, her voice trembling. Logan's lips curled into a dark smirk. "Since you were the one who took those photos that damaged my reputation," he said, his voice dripping with disdain, "it's only fair that you face the consequences." Alicia's heart beat wildly as she tried to comprehend the meaning behind Logan's words. Before she could gather her thoughts and ask what kind of punishment he had in mind, Logan's hand clamped down on her jaw, holding her firmly in place. Her eyes widened in shock, her breath caught in her throat. In an instant, Logan lowered his head, capturing her lips with his own in a possessive and demanding kiss. Alicia's mind whirled in confusion as a rush of conflicting emotions flooded her senses. The softness of his lips against hers, the scent of his cologne mixed with the scent of alcohol, and the electrifying heat of his touch sent a jolt of desire through her veins. Her initial instinct was to push him away, to resist his advances. But as Logan deepened the kiss, his dominance overpowering her, a part of her surrendered to the intoxicating pull of their connection. The alcohol in her system muddled her thoughts, blurring the lines between right and wrong. Alicia's body responded to Logan's touch, her hands gripping the lapels of his suit jacket, pulling him closer. Suddenly, a door slammed shut somewhere, jolting Alicia back to her senses. Her face flushed crimson. She couldn't believe the audacity of Logan Wilde, the way he had treated her without a second thought. In a fit of fury, she shoved him back with all her strength, her palms connecting with his face. "Get away from me!" she spat, her voice trembling with a mix of rage and hurt. Her eyes blazed with a fire that matched her fiery spirit. Logan stumbled back, taken aback by the force of her push. He felt the sting of her slap reverberate through his cheek, the sharp pain a stark contrast to the warmth that had enveloped him moments before. His left cheek rapidly reddened and swelled with the imprinted mark of her hand. His gaze narrowed his eyes flickering with a mix of irritation and confusion. He had been lost in the kiss, reveling in the sensations that had long been absent from his life. In that moment, he had felt a connection, a spark that ignited something deep within him, a confirmation that this woman, Alicia Jansen, was different from the others. His body responded to her, desired her, though he couldn't fathom why. And just as he thought she was beginning to respond to the intensity of their kiss, she had slapped him. A scowl etched across Logan's features, his brow furrowing with irritation. But beneath the anger, a flicker of something else burned. A glimmer of admiration for Alicia's fierce spirit and unwillingness to back down. One of his bodyguards, drawn by the sound of the loud slap, rushed forward to intervene. Logan shot him a withering look, his eyes icy and commanding. "Stand down," he ordered, his voice low and authoritative. "Block the hallway and ensure no one interferes." WTF. Alicia watched in disbelief as he approached. What did he going to do? The bodyguard obeyed without question, taking up his position alongside 3 others. The narrow hallway now stood as a blockade, with Alicia trapped within its confines. Alicia's heart pounded in her chest. Her escape route had been cut off, leaving her feeling vulnerable and cornered. She couldn't deny the flicker of trepidation that danced in her eyes as she faced Logan's scowl. Her breath hitched in her throat as Logan forcefully closed the distance between them, his hands holding her in place. The aggression in his actions sent shivers down her spine, her body responding with a mix of fear and a raw, undeniable attraction. Alicia's eyes widened as his lips crashed against hers once more. This time with an intensity that left no room for escape. Her mind raced, her thoughts tangled in a chaotic web of desire and confusion. Logan's eyes closed as he deepened the kiss, his tongue exploring her mouth with an almost possessive hunger. Alicia's eyes remained wide open, capturing every detail. The way his long eyelashes brushed against his cheeks, the way his features softened in the heat of the moment. As their lips moved in sync, a maelstrom of emotions crashed within Alicia. The anger that had fueled her earlier was now entangled with the intoxicating rush of desire. Her body responded to his touch, her heart betraying her mind's attempts to resist. A long, intense moment passed before Logan reluctantly pulled back, breaking the intoxicating connection between him and Alicia. She was left feeling lightheaded, her senses overwhelmed by the electrifying intensity of their kiss. Her eyes remained open, but unseeing. Her lips parted as she struggled to catch her breath. Logan observed her with a calculated detachment, his eyes tracing the contours of her flushed face. With a hint of sarcasm, he broke the silence, his voice cutting through the air like a knife. "Did you enjoy that?" he asked, his tone laced with a critical edge. Alicia's alcohol-addled brain took a moment to process the question, her eyes gradually regaining focus. But her reaction remained slow, her thoughts muddled by the lingering haze of desire and confusion. Before she could formulate a response, Logan continued, his voice dripping with disdain. "The kiss was passable, I suppose." His critical tone snapped Alicia back to reality, her face reddening once again. This time, the flush spread to her earlobes, a visible sign of her embarrassment and frustration. Summoning her courage, Alicia attempted to accuse him of taking advantage of her vulnerable state. But her words were swiftly interrupted by Logan, his voice cutting through the air like a blade. "You deserve the punishment," he declared, his eyes locked onto hers with an unwavering intensity. Alicia's fiery spirit ignited within her, her frustration fueling her retort. "Punishment? I thought you were talking about monetary compensation or a retraction of the article," she argued, her voice laced with defiance. "I didn't sign up for being kissed by you," Logan snorted, his expression filled with cold arrogance. "It's my right to decide the method of punishment, not yours," he asserted, his voice devoid of any remorse or empathy. "You need to learn that actions have consequences, woman." Alicia's anger surged, her words laced with venom. "You think you can control and manipulate people as you please," she spat, her voice dripping with disdain. "Well, guess what? I won't be your pawn. I won't let you treat me like this." With a surge of defiance, Alicia shoved Logan aside and stumbled away, her steps unsteady from both the alcohol and the tumultuous emotions that swirled within her. This time, Logan made no move to stop her. He watched as she distanced herself, a dark, inscrutable look in his eyes. But as Alicia passed him, Logan's voice reached her ears in a low, whispering tone. "This is just the beginning, Alicia Jansen," he murmured, the words laden with a promise that sent a shiver down her spine. Alicia stumbled her way into the ladies' room, her mind in a whirlwind of confusion and conflicting emotions. Her knees felt weak, though she couldn't discern whether it was from the intensity of the kiss or the lingering effects of the alcohol that still coursed through her veins. She leaned against the sink and stared at her reflection in the mirror. Her breath ragged, her lips, swollen and tingling, bore the evidence of their passionate encounter. They appeared as if they had been stung by bees, marked by the imprint of their connection. Alicia couldn't help but recall the feeling of Logan's lips against hers, the intensity that had left her reeling. Logan had called her by name. He knew who she was. The realization struck her like a lightning bolt. It meant that he must have done his research, confirming her identity as a reporter at BuzzBeat, and undoubtedly, he was furious about the photos she had taken. His so-called punishment had left an indelible impression on her, and from the look in his eyes, it was clear that he wasn't finished with her yet. Alicia was at a loss for what to do, unsure of how to navigate the treacherous path that lay ahead. After waiting for what felt like an eternity, Alicia cautiously poked her head out of the restroom door, scanning the hallway for any sign of Logan and his intimidating bodyguards. To her relief, they were nowhere to be seen. Gathering her courage, she emerged from the restroom and began making her way back to the karaoke room. But her relief was short-lived. The moment she pushed open the door, suffocating silence greeted her like a heavy blanket. The jovial atmosphere had dissipated, replaced by a tense stillness. Every gaze in the room was fixed on a single figure, standing at the center. It was Logan Wilde. Alicia's heart leapt into her throat, her pulse racing. She tried to ignore the tremor that coursed through her body as she stepped forward. Uncertainty and trepidation etched across her face. Logan's presence was a magnet, drawing all eyes toward him. His demeanor was commanding, his expression inscrutable as he locked his gaze onto Alicia. The weight of his stare made her feel vulnerable, exposed. She could almost taste the tension in the air, an electric charge that sent a shiver down her spine. Alicia's eyes flickered between Logan and the huddled figures on the sofa. Her instinct urged her to turn around and flee, to escape the intensity of the room and the piercing gaze of Logan Wilde. But her escape path was blocked by the imposing presence of the 4 burly bodyguards in the hallway. Reluctantly, she took a deep breath and stepped into the room, her eyes meeting Logan's. Logan's gaze fell upon her face, his penetrating eyes seemingly drawn to her lips. Alicia could feel the heat rising in her cheeks as her mind involuntarily replayed the memory of their earlier kiss. The urge to shield her lips from his intense scrutiny surged within her, but she resisted the impulse. With newfound courage, she locked eyes with him, refusing to back down. In that moment, Alicia's attention was drawn to his lips, thin, yet undeniably masculine. The lighting in the room accentuated their vivid shade, akin to the color of ripe roses. She tore her gaze away, feeling her cheeks burn with a mixture of embarrassment and desire. This man had a magnetic pull on her, one she couldn't fully comprehend. Logan's voice cut through the tense atmosphere, demanding her attention. "Come in," he ordered, his tone brooking. "No argument." Alicia complied, stepping further into the room, her eyes darting between Logan and the other occupants. Chief Editor Jeremy, whom she hadn't realized would be present, stood up with a servile bow, offering a gracious invitation for Logan to join them in their karaoke session. Alicia's surprise mingled with a flicker of annoyance. She had hoped to avoid any further interaction with Logan, especially in front of her colleagues. Logan dismissed Jeremy's invitation with a curt wave of his hand, cutting off the man's obsequious platitudes. Logan's gaze settled on Alicia, his voice laced with an undercurrent of command. "Now, tell me, who is Lara Morris?" Alicia's heart skipped a beat, her mind racing to process Logan's question. She hadn't expected him to inquire about Lara, the reporter who had taken credit for her work. Her eyes darted toward the other members of the room, her colleagues who had suddenly become silent witnesses to this confrontation. Alicia owed Lara a debt of gratitude for helping her secure a full-time position at BuzzBeat, so she kept quiet, refusing to answer the question. Lara Morris rose from the sofa, attempting to maintain a calm facade despite the rising tension in the room. Her voice quivered slightly as she spoke, addressing Logan with forced confidence. "Mr. Wield, I am Lara Morris," she admitted, her eyes meeting his sharp gaze. Logan's eyebrow arched in a display of skepticism, his voice laced with a hint of accusation. "So you're the one who took those pictures of me with Miss Olivia Anderson," he stated, his words laden with a silent threat. Lara's body tensed, her gaze involuntarily shifting toward Alicia. The weight of the moment hung heavy in the air, the room filled with an atmosphere of uncertainty and unspoken consequences. Alicia found herself caught in the crossfire, unsure of what to do. If Alicia confirmed that Lara was responsible for the photographs, it would open the door for potential legal repercussions against Lara. Logan's formidable legal team would undoubtedly find ways to exploit the situation, charging her with breach of privacy and other offenses. On the other hand, if Alicia denied it, it would mean exposing Lara's deceit in front of their colleagues, tarnishing her reputation and credibility. Apparently realizing the same conundrum, Lara subtly shook her head at Alicia, a silent plea for her to remain quiet. Alicia understood the unspoken message and held her tongue, her expression a mix of hesitation and conflict. Taking a step closer, Logan's imposing figure towered over Lara, his commanding presence palpable. Lara felt herself shrinking beneath his scrutiny, unable to meet his piercing gaze. Her hand trembled slightly, betraying the internal turmoil she fought to conceal. She took a deep breath, her voice steady but tinged with a touch of nervousness. "Yes, I took those pictures," Lara admitted, her words barely above a whisper. "And I also wrote the article." Logan's derisive snort reverberated through the room, his eyes narrowing with a mixture of contempt and suspicion. He pressed further, his tone laced with authority. "Where did you take those pictures?" he questioned, his voice like a razor-sharp blade slicing through the tension. Lara bowed her head. Her silence spoke volumes, her inability to provide a response a damning confession. The weight of her deception hung heavy in the air. The truth she tried to conceal now laid bare before them all. Logan took another step forward, closing the gap between them, his imposing height casting a shadow over Lara. She felt the weight of his presence, the force of his personality threatening to consume her. Struggling to regain her composure, Lara spoke slowly, her voice filled with a mix of nervousness and defiance. "If the article offended you, Mr. Wilde, I apologize," she offered, her words measured. "But it was based on facts, not conjecture. I reported what I observed. Huh. Alicia watched the exchange, her heart pounding in her chest. Logan's voice sliced through the air like icy steel, his words laden with accusation. How could your article be based on facts when you claimed I was involved with Olivia Anderson, a relationship I knew nothing about? Lara's face paled, her mouth opening to offer an explanation. But Logan's domineering presence cut her off. He refused to allow her to speak, demanding to know who gave her the authority to write slanderous fiction about him. Chief Editor Jeremy, sensing the imminent danger, stepped in to defend one of his most experienced and valuable reporters. He interjected, his voice tinged with apprehension. Mr. Wilde, I understand your concerns, but I must clarify that the photographs were not taken by Lara. Alicia's heart sank as she realized that she was about to become the sacrificial lamb in this precarious situation. The weight of Logan's gaze fell upon her, his eyes glinting with a mix of calculation and derision. She braced herself for the storm that was about to unleash. However, Logan merely sneered, his gaze shifting to his assistant, Terrence. With a silent exchange of understanding, Terrence swiftly took control of the situation. Terrence addressed Jeremy with an air of authority, his voice firm and unwavering. This matter is now between Mr. Wilde and Miss Morris, Terrence declared, his tone leaving no room for negotiation. It's in BuzzBeat's best interest for you to remain silent, unless you want the consequences to be severe. The choice is yours. Jeremy's expression contorted with a mix of frustration and fear. He understood the implicit threat in Terrence's words, the potential of BuzzBeat facing severe repercussions, perhaps even shutting down if they dared to challenge Logan Wilde. Reluctantly, Jeremy conceded, swallowing his objections and acquiescing to the power that Logan held over them all. He fell silent, his shoulders slumping with defeat. Seizing the moment, Logan gave a curt nod to his bodyguards, silently ordering them to take Lara away for a private conversation. Alicia's pulse quickened, her mind racing with the implications of this turn of events. She couldn't stand idly by and allow Lara to face the wrath of Logan, Wilde alone. In a sudden surge of defiance, Alicia stepped forward, her voice cutting through the tense atmosphere. Hold on just a moment.